Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Welcome back to another Signature Sundays installment here on the channel where we take a look at some autographed cards from my sports card or even non-sports card collection that I've built up over the years. Going to do one this week that is inspired by another YouTube channel. So one of the things that I enjoy most about this platform, aside from all of the socialization, is all of the learnings, in the same way that I'm putting content out there, hoping that, maybe some of you who watch it may learn something or see a card they like or be inspired to pick up something of their own. It's a two-way street. And at the same time, I am consuming all of your content, or as much of it as I can find the time to anyway, weekly. And I'm constantly, learning and inspired by cards that I see on all of your channels or information that I learn from your wonderful channels as well. And today's autographs, plural, are an example of that. So, I've been a hockey fan since the late 80s, early 90s, played the sport growing up, still watch a ton of NHL action to this day, collect the sport. But until recently, I was never really that big into the Calgary Flames for some reason. They play on the West Coast. Their games are always late at night, so I don't see a lot of their live game action traditionally growing up. After they won their Stanley Cup in the late 80s, they kind of went through a little bit of a lull there, or less than thrilling period. And that's right when I was kind of at my height of, childhood collecting. And they just weren't the most exciting team to me during that stretch. And then I guess when I returned to the hobby, some of that just kind of carried over as an adult, and just never put a lot of emphasis on a lot of Calgary Flames players. Well, recently my buddy Shawn started his channel, Shawn Stuff, which I'll leave a link to below if you're not subscribed yet. And he is a big Calgary Flames fan. So listening to his content has definitely given me a greater appreciation for that franchise and what they're doing over there. He's inspired me to go out and pick up some Flames cards on ComC that'll be coming in a shipment soon. And so I figured this week I would dedicate this episode to Shawn and show some Calgary Flames autographs. These are Panini autos that came out quite a while ago now, coming up on almost 10 years, from a set that they did when they still had an NHL license, or briefly had an NHL license. It was called Panini Classics Signatures. And here is the first one. I have 4 of these to show off today. The first one is Valerie Beret. And, what I love about these cards, the design really got to me. I just think Panini knocked it out of the park with these. The simplicity of, the border on the top and bottom with a nice photograph in the middle. What really got me with these, all of the autographs are on card, signed by the athlete in question, in nice bold blue ink, and just really dig this design. So I went pretty hard after these. I was, actively collecting hockey in 2013 when these were out on the shelves, and sort of became obsessed with them for a short time. Tried to collect as many as I could. Never did get all of them. Some of the Ultra Stars or All-Stars or Hall of Famers were short printed and were a little bit hard to track down. And there was some that I honestly never even saw with my own 2 eyes. They were that rare. But I did end up with a whole bunch of them. And we're going to look at the 4 Flames that I have pulled from this set today. And Valerie's the first. He only played with Calgary for a very brief time. It's about 3 years in the late 90s to 2000, early 2000s, I think. Was actually surprisingly effective in the time that he was in a Flames uniform. Pretty much, could be relied upon to score between, 25 and 30 goals a year over those 3 years. He even had 35 actually in the middle campaign with the Flames. They were probably some of, if not the most successful seasons of his NHL career. So kind of cool to get an autograph of Pavel's brother. And of course, off the ice, he is famous for being married to Cameron Bure, who I think was on Full House back in the day. Candace Cameron Bure, who was on Full House back in the day as his wife. I think they operate a winery together out in California, if I'm not mistaken. But there you have it, Valerie Beret. The next one I have up is a goalie card. This is Reggie Lemon. Really nice photograph here. I'm a sucker for the brown leather pads and wooden goalie sticks of the, 80s and prior. Just enjoy this one. Lemon came into the league and lasted quite a while with the Flames, but unfortunately for him, he departed for Boston with the Bruins before they won their Stanley Cup in the late 80s. So I remember him more as a Bruins netminder from growing up. His autograph is, I guess, slightly more interesting than Valerie Beret. Neither one of these guys is a very strong, super unique looking autograph. Since I don't have a whole lot to say about Reggie, let's take a look at the backs. I think Panini did a very good job on these as well. I love the retro sort of feel here with the stick layout. Very legible, colorful, easy on the eyes. Just really enjoyed these. There are non-autographed versions of these as well. The base cards in this set look exactly like this, just without the auto. And I just thought it was a really fun release by Panini. I certainly miss the days where they had a license to produce NHL trading cards. I think they made a lot of unique cards like these, but still fortunate enough to at least have been around and in the hobby when they did have their license and have held on to these all these years. Next one's kind of cool because it is an Atlanta Flames card. So as Shawn well knows, and but some of you may not, who are not big hockey fans, the Calgary Flames, the present day Calgary Flames, were originally the Atlanta Flames before the franchise moved there. So we get a nice black and white photograph here, likely from the late 70s, of Bill Clement, who was on the Broad Street Bullies Flyers teams in the mid 70s and won a couple of consecutive Stanley Cups with that franchise before moving on to Calgary. Played with both the Atlanta Flames and the Calgary Flames as they moved. He was part of the team when the franchise relocated. A fantastic autograph, I just want to say. Here is a gentleman who knows how to sign a card and put some pride into their signature. Awesome job there. And if you are like me and you are a hockey fan in the 90s, you probably remember Bill Clement more for his broadcasting than anything else. So when I was growing up on ESPN in the 90s, the NHL broadcast team was Gary Thorne and Bill Clement, and I loved both those guys. I think they did a fantastic job, made the coverage very exciting. They had memorable voices, good insight into the game, and just really enjoyed those guys. So I don't know that Clement is still in broadcasting. I think Gary Thorne moved on to do like Baltimore Orioles baseball, I want to say. But yeah, really cool card there, not just for the Atlanta Flames, but somebody whose voice I heard in my living room, for many, many hours, most weeks during the fall, winter, and spring throughout the 90s. So cool card there. And then we're going to close it off with the final one here. This is one of those Hall of Fame short printed autos that I referred to at the outset of the episode. If I recall, they had two different levels of rarity. There were short prints and then there were super short prints. This was just a normal short print, so tougher than the base, but not as tough as some of those SSPs, which again, I never even saw to this day with my own two eyes. But we have one of the better defensemen of the 80s and 90s, the great Al McGinnis. And he captured a Stanley Cup. He was on the Stanley Cup winning 1989 squad for the Flames. In fact, he was the Conn Smythe Trophy winner as the MVP of the playoffs that year, the Stanley Cup playoffs. So obviously this is a guy who is very beloved in Calgary, being the MVP of the team that, brought the Stanley Cup to the city of Calgary in 1989. He's very popular to this day. Had a very lengthy NHL career. He played for the Flames initially throughout the 80s and into the 90s, then moved over to the St. Louis Blues, where he lasted for a few more seasons. And, he won a Stanley Cup in 89 when he had already been in the league for quite a few years. And then 10 years after that, in 1999, is when he finally won his Norris Trophy as the top defender in the NHL. So Stanley Cup winner, Norris Trophy winner, multiple-time All-Star, and was quite obviously and rightfully elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame upon his retirement. So this is a nice Hall of Fame on-card auto here of Al McGinnis, a nice short print courtesy of Panini Classics Signatures. So pretty nice set. I think you can easily see why I enjoyed this release when you see these laid out in person like this. Again, it's just really cool to collect on-card ink from guys from all different eras of the NHL, on the same design with great photography. Just a set that really spoke to me. So that's all I have for you all today. Just those 4 autos. And again, just big shout out to my buddy Shawn. Hope you enjoyed this more so than anybody, being a Flames fan. And to everybody else, maybe you saw a card or two that interested you as well. Whether or not you did, I will certainly be back in the near future with some more sports card content. And until then, take care, stay safe, and enjoy the hobby.